Startling calls, tough negotiations and a surprising surplus. I feel that was the crux of yesterday's IPL retention deadline day. Hello and welcome to Republic World. I am Ankit Banerjee and I am joined by Shane, and in this session we are going to discuss about the big takeaways from what happened at the retention day. So yes, Shane, for me the biggest surprise was the fact some of the choices that KKR made. For example, they left out Shreyas Iyer. They also left out a few other players like Phil Salt, guys who had done well in the past, and also Venkatesh Iyer. Venkatesh Iyer he had edged Shubman Gill to the side in the season before that. So then you let off Venkatesh Iyer. So what do you think was the thought behind it?
I think, the biggest thing when you're talking about KKR, that the surprise factor they had was the fact that they released Shreyas Iyer, the skipper, an IPL title-winning skipper being released back into the auction, is something that doesn't really happen. I mean, if you're looking at it, it's the first time that has happened in the history of the tournament that a captain has led a side to an IPL victory and then after that been sent into the auction pool. Now, obviously, not all of this is down to KKR themselves. I'm sure there would have been some, let's say, desire from Shreyas himself to maybe test the waters, try and get a bigger contract from another team, and having won a title at KKR, perhaps said that, okay, this is a close of one chapter and let's start something new. But you're right, if you're looking at that side, and this is where I think KKR got unlucky, how many players do you think you could have actually put down to be retained? A lot of them. You're not mentioning someone like a Nitish Rana, who's also been a stalwart of KKR for years. Someone like a Surya Sharma, who you remember did well for the few games that he played in 23 and 24. I think KKR would have been that one side that hated that the mega auction came this year, because quite frankly, it came at a time when their side looked settled and they wouldn't have wanted to make one too many changes. Unfortunately, they've had to, but if you look at the retentions they have, it's a bit of a blend when you're looking at, focus on the now as well as focus on the future, because you have, of the retentions, you've got a Sunil Narayan, you've got Andre Russell and Varun Chakravarti, players who are quality but who will be aging, who are in fact aging. Then you look at the other three retentions, there's a Ramandeep Singh, there's a Rinku Singh, and there is a Harshat Rana, three players around whom you can build the future of the franchise. I think that is the logic that they've had when it comes to their retentions. It's a little bit of the now and a little bit on focusing on the future as well, and maybe that's why they weren't very keen to keep someone like a Shreyas Iyer as well. Iyer also is on the wrong side of 30 in some ways. I know people look at him as a youngster, but he's already past 30. Would he have been a guarantee? He's had injury issues as well in the past. Maybe those are the things that played into the mind of the Knight Riders team management.
Okay, moving forward, let's speak about Rishabh Pant. That was another surprising call taken by DC. My sources confirm that there was a deal between Delhi Capitals and Rishabh Pant that did not eventually work out. Yeah. So finally they had to release Pant. Now there are so many teams that are looking for captains, right? I believe there are about 4 to 5 teams.
Five teams who will have new captains next year.
Who will be having new captains next year. So I believe Rishabh Pant, Shreyas Iyer, they'll be in huge demand. What do you have to speak about Rishabh Pant? You think Punjab Kings can actually gun for him or a Shreyas Iyer, because Ponting has worked with these two guys in the past. Exactly. So you think that's a possibility?
Yeah, I mean, it's a probability. Don't forget, Punjab Kings are one of those sides that needed a captain well before the auction retention list came out, because Shikhar Dhawan had announced his retirement a few months prior. So they always knew they were going to start afresh. And let's face facts, this is Punjab Kings. Every single season they tend to start afresh. So this time around in a mega auction, there's all the, let's say, incentive in the world for them to start anew. And in fact, you look at it, even in their retentions, they've retained 2 players in Prabhsimran Singh and Shashank Singh, both of whom are uncapped. So they have the biggest amount of money to spend, which means they will go hard for a captain. Yes, there's a Rishabh Pant, there's a Shreyas Iyer. Pant, we're hearing rumblings that could potentially be on his way to CSK, a rumor that had been going around before the retentions and is obviously now once again picked up.
Expand that rumor even further.
Correct. And of course, it's picked up more steam now when you look at the fact that they do, it would eventually need a wicketkeeper bat. Yes, Dhoni is going to be playing the next season, maybe the next 2 seasons, but Dhoni at some point or the other has got to retire. So Pant does seem to be the ready-made successor. Potentially could be a captaincy option if they find things aren't working out with Rituraj Gaikwad. But yes, captaincy options, there's a lot of them. KL Rahul was released by the Lucknow Super Giants. There's a lot of teams. Faf du Plessis will not be playing for RCB this time around. So So there are 5 teams who will be looking for new captains, and that means you're going to see a lot of churn. Very few franchises have opted for that much stability wherein they've backed their incumbents. So a lot of them have gone the other way around, said, listen, new 3-year plan, fresh start, let's do it in this particular auction.
There are so much of speculation in and around KL Rahul, and that is bound to happen. For months you knew what was brewing in the LSG camp, and finally we see he has been released. And there are also reports that claim that probably RCB would be, gunning for him at the auction. Do you think that is going to happen? And also, I'd like to know about what happens to Faf du Plessis. Will any team actually, place a bid for Faf du Plessis if he goes to the auction pool?
He does have a bit of a history, a long history, I may add, with CSK.
No,
so
but
they may very well.
Not on his side.
But has that ever bothered CSK? They were known as the Dad's Army for a reason. They may very well go for Faf. Don't forget, they haven't really retained, there's no Conway, and they didn't retain Rachan Ravindra either. So there is space at the top of their order for an opener. Don't forget, du Plessis and Gaikwad had a very good partnership in 2021 when they won the title. So it could be a possibility, but truth be told, I'd be very surprised if any team went for a du Plessis, because again, you're talking about trying to build for the future for another 3-year cycle. Du Plessis, I think his form has kind of tapered off in the last few seasons. Yes, he did get runs, but his strike rate, there were issues over his strike rate. So I think you're not going to see a lot of teams bid for him. I'd be surprised. If any team does it, it has to be CSK.
Let's look at Rajasthan Royals a little, and let's talk about Joss Butler. Joss the boss, as they call him. A proven match winner. Why wasn't he retained? Any specific logic behind it?
See, I think with Butler is probably one of the more expendable options, and I know this will sound weird, but the thing is that Butler provided you a top order bat who was also a wicketkeeper and captaincy material, all words or terms that can also be used to describe Sanju Samson. So they could potentially get Butler back in the auction. They don't have an RTM, but you sometimes do get lucky that you'll end up bidding and perhaps no one's really that interested. They could get him back. I think what RR did really well with their auction strategy was retain their younger core, with the exception of a Sandeep Sharma and a Shimron Hetmaiah, who are experienced campaigners. You look at who else they've retained. There's a Sanju, there's a Yashasvi, there's a Riyan Parag, a Dhruv Jurel. All of these are guys that they can build the franchise around for at least the next 2 auction cycles, really, if you're looking at it. I'm talking mega auction cycles, because they're all young talent, they're good players. You know what it is they're going to expect from them. They've actually been given their opportunities by the Rajasthan Royals. They're as good as homegrown. So I think it made sense for them focusing on that. Foreign players, you generally, I don't know if you've noticed this, but not a lot of teams have gone hard to retain foreign players. Many of them prefer saying, okay, if we need a foreign spinner or a foreign all-rounder, there'll be a few options so we can get one back. With Indian players, they generally have tended to try and stick to their recognized core. That was true for RR as well. So it doesn't really surprise me that a Butler, great as a player he is, undoubtedly finds himself in the auction pool. It might actually work out well for him. Could get a big bid. Could be a captaincy candidate. You don't know. You just don't know.
Also with Rohit Sharma, I think he has failed all the speculations, rumors that make the rounds. What happened in Rohit Sharma's case?
I think he didn't really want to leave the franchise. Maybe he was hurt by the fact that the captaincy was taken away, but that is the franchise that brought him all the success, the recognition that propelled him to Indian captaincy across formats when he was that person. I think he realized, okay, maybe even if I try and leave and get a new challenge, I'd rather stick here and be part of this rebuild, because I know that with MI there is that title winning potency that exists. And you look at the players they've retained, it's wow. That is an Indian core I think most franchises would kill to have.
Which franchisee, the kind of players they have retained, has impressed you the most?
MI for sure. For sure, the kind of retention.
Because they have got a lot of Indian guys there.
It's only Indian guys. It's 5 Indian guys. You've got Hardik Pandey, you've got Rohit Sharma, you've got Suryakumar Yadav, Jasprit Bumrah and Tilak Verma. That is a fantabulous core to have actually retained. Now, you can add any amount of foreign players there and you will have a phenomenally solid side, a good side. I think KKR's retentions I have been impressed with. Not all of them were surprising, I think, but they've also done a good job.
I think Ramandeep and this other guy Harshit, they have been rewarded.
Yes.
And that is so nice to see.
No, but speaking of rewards, Rinku Singh, prior to this, he was on a contract.
But with Rinku, you almost knew that, he's confirmed. He's a confirmed retention.
Correct, but look at the jump in pay. 55 lakhs was what he was getting for the past 3 seasons, because KKR got him on really cheap.
It zoomed to
14 crores.
14 crores. Jesus Christ.
You talk about God's plan, and that's something Rinku Singh loves talking about a lot on, his social medias. He's even got it tattooed on him. I mean, from 55 lakhs to 14 crores is one big jump, and you couldn't say that he didn't deserve it. Look at the heights he's scaled. So I think, yeah, KKR also are one of those teams that are trying to build a homegrown core, and these guys, a Harshit features, a Ramandeep features, could potentially see them go back for a Suyash Sharma. Again, he's someone who would impress. So they're going to be younger players, and I think a lot of teams now are doing that. You look at even Punjab Kings, the two players they retained were young and uncapped. Sunrisers Hyderabad have retained a Nitish
Punjab
Reddy.
can do a lot of shopping at the
Oh yeah, of course. They'll have to. They don't have a choice. They don't have a choice. But it has been a very interesting retention cycle because you're seeing a lot of franchises now kind of try and plan for the future. It's been very, very interesting. Previously, franchises every year would approach auctions with, we're going to win the auction.
3-year cycle, so you have to, think long term.
But not everyone did it. A CSK did it, an MI did it, and that's it. Now you're seeing more and more franchises move towards that longer term planning, saying, no, we'll keep these players around and we'll build around them.
Because again, I feel in IPL, the core is what, becomes the deciding factor.
Absolutely.
Two of the most successful teams, Chennai Super Kings and Mumbai Indians, it is the core that has helped them win season after season, right? Correct. So yes, as you've heard from us, we gave you a perspective of what exactly happened at the retention day, and now all eyes would be on the auction. Permutation combinations would be, chalked out before the auctions as to, what will be the shopping list, the wish list of every franchisee going into the auction. After a mouth-watering retention, all eyes now on the auction. Thank you so much for joining us in this session on Republic World. Stay tuned to this channel for all the latest across sports. Thank you so much.